I want to record a quick video about morality before I forget while I was brushing my teeth. Just now, I had this idea to make a quick video about morality and where does it come from, how does it affect us. So here goes. Morality is a very interesting thing that's the basis for morals and laws and commandments and Hindu karma. And it really comes down to a feeling. And it's been a very interesting evolution in human history as a species, an animal species. We are animals, and what it comes down to is when we do certain things to other people, we feel bad. And that's it. That's morality in a nutshell. That's exactly all it is. There's no specific rules behind it. There's no specific reason. As an evolutionary tool, it's been very helpful because it allows for compassion, um, teamwork, because we have to understand how other people are feeling, their situations, in order to better collaborate with them. And more importantly, it stops us from just randomly killing, stealing, robbing, um, enslaving people willy nilly. That doesn't stop us completely because, as you know, when it comes to people that we don't think of as part of us, part of our tribe, right? We can do unspeakable things to them. And we justify it by saying, okay, these guys are savages. Or, the Romans, when they were conquering the British or the Britons, was it the Hispania, the Gauls, who are the modern day French, the Germanic tribes, all those folks, they just viewed them as barbarians. And so they didn't see them as their fellow countrymen. And so their moral center did not tick off. And that's really what it comes down to. There's no rhyme or reason behind it, really. It's just something that happens. And in terms of psychology, if you've ever heard of a sociopath or a psychopath, it's now in DSM-6. It's a diagnostic statistic manual. It's basically a book of recognized abnormal mental situations or abnormal thinking or abnormal situations where it's talked about and talked about the diagnosis, the symptoms, the causes. Is it genetic? Is it environmental? And one of them, well, those two things, psychopathy and sociopaths, they are lumped together now in antisocial disorder, and that's hallmarked by basically doing things that benefit you at the expense of others. So everything I mentioned before, robbing, mugging, stealing, just using brute force to take something from somebody, just punching someone in the face because you're upset, without remorse. That comes because morality, remorse, compassion, they're all linked together, really. And so a person that does not have that part of the brain that makes them feel bad or think about others, they have you could call it an advantage or a disadvantage, but they have an ability to do things to other people without feeling bad. Again, you can't really say it's a disadvantage or an advantage. It's terrible if you're trying to, live in a society with other people. It's an advantage if you're an assassin. All right. So that's really what comes down to morality. And one interesting thing is that when we have our laws, I want to point out to the commandments. Those are very great ideas behind morality and how morality can create these kind of rules of life. And okay, thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not envy thy, covet thy neighbor's good. Those are heavily influenced by morality and what it affects, what the impacts they have on other people around us. Killing, of course, you kill the person, you take their life, but also you ruin whoever you affect the people that are living who have emotional connections to that person. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's goods. Well, that affects your partner, and mainly in or what you have. If it's your wife, for example, you covet your neighbor's wife, you make your current wife feel terrible, and that might also lead you to a path of somehow getting your neighbor's wife, or starting a war so you can have that wife. I guess if you think about the Trojan War, um, so that's how morality affects these laws we put into place. And one tricky thing, the last thing I want to mention, is that it starts getting tricky once you take people out of the equation, but there's still morality um, to be thought of, and that can be seen of as stealing from, say, a corporation versus stealing from a person. When it comes to that person, you know who you're hurting. When you're, I don't know, doing a Bitcoin scam on Walmart or something, it's not a person. It's legally a person, but it's not a person. You don't feel bad as much. Or if you do something like piracy, pirating software or movies, who who is the person that you're hurting? You are hurting the industry, but who is it that you're hurting? It's not immediately clear. That's why when it comes to those types of crimes, people are a lot more willing to do it because our morality is not extending towards legal entities and corporations and intellectual property. And so that's why it's a bit tricky. All right? So that's all I got to say about morality. Be mindful that the laws of our society may not be reflective of the laws in your heart. And also be mindful that some people have no laws in their heart, and the only reason they aren't out pillaging is because of the laws of our land. Okay, take care.